So there's a few questions. I'll get back to those questions, but what I want to do is jump into this demo. We're going to connect to, it's not technically the BOM API, but it is a weather API, and we're going to build out this report. Now, before I do that, let me, I've made a kind of user guide for you, so I'll grab that. If you would like to play along, it might be a little bit difficult if you don't have an API key, but I'll drop that in the chat for you. So maybe if you just want to watch today and then in your own time, you'll just need to download an API key and create an account. It's all free. So I will be using, let's load this up. So I've built this user guide for you. So everything I'm going to do here, it's all there for you as well. And actually, the other thing I wanted to grab for you was just the next event. So if you did want to attend our event in November, you do have to register every time, unfortunately. So I've dropped that link in there for you as well. And you can register here where you have registered for this event. So again, if you want to present, please do let me know because we don't have any presenters for November. So it's all in there for you. So I'll be following along with this. Going to open up, actually, I'll just use my demo file. I'll open up my demo file here. And the first thing you're going to need to do is go to visualcrossing.com.au. So this is a website, and it's not just for me, I'm in Victoria, so all of Australia, international as well. It has an API for all the weather, and you can get for free 14 days of weather. So I've created an account here. If you have time, you can do it, or in your own time. But essentially, if I show you what the, actually, this is what the account looks like. And I need just this API key. So that's all I need. So I've grabbed that from there. I'm going to jump back into Power BI, jump into Power Query. And we've talked about parameters today. So let's build a parameter. So I'm going to create a parameter. So over in the right here, I'm going to right click and say new parameter. So parameters are useful whenever you want to reference something within your code. And what we want to reference is that API key. So if I go back to the API key and I will copy that, go back in here, and this is going to be the value of my parameter. And we're going to call this weather API key, and I'll just copy that from my notes and put it in here. So weather API key, and it's just the key there, and I click on OK, and I'll have a parameter in here. Now, the next thing we want to do is connect to the API. Now, the API uses, well, it's a JSON, and then we have to do some transformations in Power Query. Now, to save time, there's nothing too difficult about that. But what I've done is in your handout, you'll see the code's already there for you in mscript. So essentially, it's just pulling the data out from the JSON into a table and then expanding out the days. So if you want to use that code there, so we have a look there. So I'm just copy and pasting this. Put it over there. We can right click in here and create a new query, which will be just a blank query. So I've already got the code. I just want to drop it into here. So I can just click on the blank query. Now you can't edit it in here, but you will see up the top. So I right clicked here, I said new query, and then I can go to my advanced editor to edit the code of the query. So if we jump into the advanced editor, and you can see there's nothing there at the moment, but if you delete all of that, you can paste that code in here. So I'll just zoom in to show you the code. So you can see there's the URL of the API, and then here is my key, which so that points to the parameter, and you can see it's of type JSON. And then you see my transformations here. All I'm doing is converting it to a table and then expanding out the days and deleting columns and changing types. So there's not a lot of transformations there. So I've just copied and pasted that, and you can grab that code as well. Now, once we've done that, we can get the data. So when I registered on that website, I put that I wanted Melbourne, Victoria data. So you can see that I have Melbourne data. I have my temperature, the min, the max, This one is going to be important later. We've got an icon, so day's icon. So that's the weather icon, the conditions, and we also have a description as well. So there's a lot of information here. Now, I won't call this query one. I'm going to call this table weather. So I'll just copy that from over here, paste that there. Okay, so that's all done. So in Power Query, we've done two things. We've created a parameter, which is weather API key, which just has our ID. And then we've connected to the actual API, and it's given us 14 days or 15 days of data. Done some transformations just to make that presentable, and it's called table_weather. So I'll close and apply. And jump onto a blank page. Okay, so the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to get the icons for the weather into our Power BI report as well. Jump back into my browser to show you this one here. What it looks like. So there is a GitHub from Weather Crossing, and you can see it has all the different icon names and an SVG there that we can call. So I'll show you clear day here because we don't have a lot of these in Melbourne. So let's have a look. It does look like that. And so what we want is this icon in our Power BI report. So if this one comes up, we can have a nice icon there. So what we need is this URL here. Oops, sorry, jump in there again. So what we're going to take is this URL. Because here we have clearday.svg, and we have that in our table under icon. And so we'll remove that, and we can refer to our data to the column clear, well, the icon column. So if I jump back into here, open up table weather, and we're going to build a new column. So I'll right-click in here and say, let's build a new column. And I've already pre-built this one earlier, so I'm just going to copy and paste. You'll see that in point 4, and I'll paste that in here. So just to explain what's happening here, we have image icon, the name of my column, and it's just a path. I've got the and sign to end the string and and sign for the SVG at the end. And then I'm saying from table weather table, get days.icon. Now, the last step that you will need to do to get this to work is you need to change it from uncategorized to make sure it's an image URL. So it will take that URL, obviously jump on the internet, look for that string and return that. So let's have a look and see if that's working. So I'll just pull in image icon in here. It looks like I didn't change it, so I'll go back to uncategorized, change to image URL. And you can see here I've got the icons in a table. So that's good. That's all managed by this website in their GitHub, and we're just pointing to that GitHub, and we've got all those icons. So obviously there's more than this, and it'll update depending on our data. Because if we have a look at the conditions here, up a bit. So if there's a clear, and you can see it is just pointing to that URL. All right, so that's our second step. We've got the image into the table. I'll delete that. And now we're just going to format it nicely so we can use it in our Power BI report. So I'm going to create a matrix visual. We use a matrix visual. It's this one here. And I'm just going to add some columns and some values. So I'll give that a bit more width. And so my columns, I'm going to take date, not a hierarchy date. I just want date by itself. So I'll put that in there. Next one I'm going to grab is conditions, put that in the column, and my image icon. And in my values, I'm going to get the temp and the temp max. So temp max. Just going to rename these. So I'm just going to call that date, condition, icon doesn't really need a name, so I'm just going to space so that you can't see that. And then temp and max. Now, another step that we're going to need to do is in the options for the matrix. So if we click on the format visual here, what we want to do is make sure that, where is it? There's a setting to make everything, see it as rows. Where are we? In here. So in the value setting, it says switch values to rows. So if I turn that on, you can see that'll format it nicely. So here I have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So under your settings, format visual, values, turn on this option. So instead of, you'll see here I have them side by side, I want this one underneath as a row. So that's that setting there. Jump into my filter. So I just want the next 7 days, let's say. So I'll jump into my filters pane. I'll go to the date filter, and we can jump in here, the relative date, and I can say, show me is in the next 7 days, including today, and apply that filter. So let's reduce that. Definitely don't want a total. So I'll jump into my settings and turn off my totals as well. Again, sorry if I'm moving a little bit fast, but I have documented all for you step by step. So you can, all these steps are there for you. So that's done there. And now I just need to step down the hierarchy. So at the moment I'm at date. So I've only used a hierarchy before. These are our 4 hierarchies. So the up, toggle it on so I can click on something, go down a hierarchy, including the one above. That's the one I want to use here. So I want to keep all my data like that. So probably should have just 1 decimal on here as well. So to change our temp and temp max, I don't tick them, but I select days.temp. Head up the top here, and I'm going to change it to 1 decimal. Don't know if that did that. 1 decimal, hit enter. And temp min, 1 decimal, hit enter. No, max is what I'm after. Temp, sorry, that one. Okay, so now I can add this to any other Power BI report that I want. Obviously, all you need is that API key and just to register at the website. This will update. So obviously, I set that up in the Power BI service. I can refresh it overnight. And tomorrow it'll be starting at Wednesday. So you can see here at Melbourne, we do actually have a good day on Sunday. So that's good, a bit of clear weather, but that's a nice way that you can use icons. You connect into an API, you bring in all that data in, a few transformations, but I've done all the steps for you in the document. So hopefully you have a bit of fun with that. If you do get it to work, I'd love to see you, share it on LinkedIn, tag me. I'd love to see if you're able to get this work for yourself. And, drop it in one of your other Power BI reports. I don't know, if we could have historical, we could add it to Scott's crime stats. Do we have more crime on a sunny day or a rainy day? So you can add it in, something like that. Or if you've got a depot and they want to see what the weather is, how their KPIs are, you can add that into the Power BI report as well. Were there any questions? If there are any, feel free to drop it into the chat. But otherwise, that does bring us to the end of the session. I see there are some questions I haven't answered at the end, so I will go back up and have a look through. Just a reminder, if you want this document, it is in the chat for you. This session will be recorded, so I'll put it on YouTube so you can watch all this again. You can have the document with you. You can step by step go through it as well. If you do want to register for November session, I'll drop that link in the chat for you again. So please do that. Love to see you in November. If there are any other questions, just stick on the line and I can help you out if you're having a go trying to build it for yourself. But otherwise, great to see you all again. And hopefully I will see you at the next meetup in November. Or if you like that type of training, get in touch. We do Power BI for government, where we do actually do crash stats and census and all that type of stuff, and you can build out your own Power BI report. So thanks again, everyone. Reach out if you do need support in the world of Power BI, but thanks for coming along. I'll stick on the line and I'll answer anyone else's questions, but we'll wrap it up for 2 minutes to spare. So thanks, everyone. I'll see you next time.